Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk about my favorite poetry books. I don't have that many poetry books. Actually, all the ones that I have are my favorites because I only keep books that are my favorites. But basically, yeah, I wanted to share them today and explain to you why I like them so much. So let's get into it. So, first of all, Letters from a Dead Girl. I accidentally included this in one of my previous videos. I made a video about my favorite fictional novels, and I put this in there. I don't know why I did that. I totally don't know why I did that. I forgot because I played it back, and I was like, why did I put that in there? Like, I guess I just didn't know where else to put it, but yeah. This book I really do like because of how emotional it is. I don't think it really intends to make you cry, but for some reason when I'm reading it, I just feel every single poem. Even though I don't relate to most of them, I feel them as if I literally am the poet who wrote it, and I'm just like, wow, that's so cool that the author was able to make me feel like I experienced their life, kind of. And I like how some parts of the poems are like put in bold, so it makes it seem like more intense. And I love that. I really, really do. My favorite poems in it are definitely like Dear Crazy and Lost Boy. It's just really insane how, looking back on relationships, you really are like a deceased person because, yeah, you didn't pass away, your partner didn't pass away, hopefully. However, in a way, you guys are both deceased because you don't talk anymore, you broke apart. Like, it's just a weird type of like life experience. Like, I look at my past relationships and I'm like, it's crazy how you grieve them as if they passed away, but they didn't, you know? So, this is just written, I guess, from the perspective of the one who got away and, letters from a dead girl. Next up is the book Him. This poetry book is really, really great. I actually got it because I have the other poetry book called Her. There's a poem in it that says, I will never fight for the men who can't be men to women. And I really vibe with that feminism. So I also have Her. And this one poem goes, perfect people are just good pretenders and exceptional liars. To ask her to be perfect is to ask her to be those things. I totally agree. I hate when people that you are dating or people you know in your family or friend circle, they want you to change and be perfect and be like a robot pretty much. Like, you're asking me to hide my emotions, be fake, and lie about how I feel. Like, people, it's, if you have to change yourself for anybody, they don't love you. Like, if you have to change your weight for somebody, change the way you dress, change your music taste, change the things you're interested in learning about, then that's just like, they don't love you. Like, if you have to deal with a person like that, you're better off alone, honestly. I hyperfixate really, really bad. Like, if you tell me you like horses, I take that as they're your life's purpose. Because, like, for me, everything I like becomes my personality. It becomes my life's purpose. So when I like horses, like, I'm fighting for horses. I'm living for horses. Like, I'm very, very passionate. And a lot of people don't like that. And so I thought for a long time I would have to just throw out all the stuff I really care about and love to be in a relationship or to have a friend. Because I had friends who literally stopped talking to me because they were like, if I knew you were really loving towards animals like this, if you really loved horses like this, if I knew that beforehand, I never would have been your friend. And I was like, oh, great. What do I say to that? If you have to change for anybody, just leave them. Like, they don't love you. Next up is Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass. This poetry book is by Lana Del Rey, and I love her music, so I was really excited to buy this book, and I love it. It's so handcrafted, like, it's so well made. When I got it originally, I actually thought it was used, because it has, like, crayon markings in it, but that's just Lana's notes. And then there's pages that have, like, ideas written on them of, like, how to change the poem to make it sound better or stuff to change it to. And I was like, this book is used. And then I realized it was just Lana Del Rey's writing, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I love that because it's like you actually get to see the art and how, like, she was thinking or feeling when she was writing it. But the aesthetic of the book, it's such a beautiful book. It's the photos, the colors, the handwriting. It just feels like a book that was made with love, you know? And of course, she has like a really good publisher, most likely, to be able to make a book like this. My favorite poem from the book is Paradise is Very Fragile. This poem regards like the Woolsey fires and basically like the environment just falling apart. It makes me like so sad. Like in the beginning, the poem starts off with her talking about this treehouse that got destroyed and how she wanted to save it, but the horses and German shepherds are more important. And I don't know why that makes me so sad. You know, it's just that the fact that we even have to think about escaping a fire is just so sad. And I'm guessing that the poem, the water droplets on the page are meant to be tears because like it looks like the words are like faded or it looks like water was spilled on the page, but it might have just been tears. And this is what I mean by how I think it's handcrafted. Like it feels like you picked up somebody's journal and were just reading through it. You know, it feels so like personal. But next up is Halsey's I Would Leave Me If I Could. I am ride or die for Halsey, so of course I had to buy this poetry book. I don't know if this is the first poetry book I got, but I think it was one of them because I never really read poetry. But then I found out that Halsey was writing poetry and Lana Del Rey was writing poetry, and I was like, yeah, I have to get into this. My favorite poem from this book is Lighthouse. Like, I know who this poem is about. I know who it is about. I'm not going to say names, but I know who she wrote it about. And I read this poem like several times. Like, it's my favorite poem because it feels so just like tragic. You know, like you want to save people who are broken. I feel like a lot of people go through that, I guess, like phase of being like, I could fix him. I could fix him. But you can't. It doesn't work like that a lot. And like you could try to love somebody until they're healed, but that's not really possible for a lot of people. Another poem I really like is Battles. My mother told me pick your battles wisely, but you made me angry at the world, so I chose them all. I relate to that so hard. Like every problem I could think of is a battle to me, you know, because like if you're angry at the world, you're angry at everything, and it's hard to not be angry at everything because everything is out of your control. I also really like the poem Due Date. Like, it's so just. It hurts my feelings. Like, the way that it ends, she says the average baby is 20 inches long. I was 14, and it was on my first day on Earth that I realized I didn't measure up, and I never would. That is so sad. Which, like, I think Holly measures up to everything. I think she's extraordinary. I think she's above the standards people set. Like, she is just so iconic, and I've been a fan of her since I was, like, 13, you know? Like, it's been nearly a decade, and I think she's just so cool. Like, her fashion, the way she... everything. Icon. Love her so much. I also have The Sky Between You and Me. It's about this girl who has a mental health disorder, and she loves horses and is struggling mentally. I thought it was a novel, which I'm pretty sure it's advertised as a novel about this girl who loves horses who also has mental problems. However, it's very much a poetry book. It's not my top favorite, but I do like it. And next up we have The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. This is one of my top favorites. Like, I remember when it released, I didn't buy it, but I did see it in stores. So the year this book released, I was going through a really, really rough time. Like, I was literally planning an end date for my life because I didn't want to live anymore. I just was like, here's the date I'm planning. I have like 2 months until then. Might get better or they won't, who knows. And I was just so lost and so stuck, and I felt so like a burden to every person I ever came across. And then I saw this book in the store and I picked it up and it landed on this page that says life is difficult but you are loved. And I just like I felt a lot better because even though it might be a lie, like maybe I'm actually not loved and the book is saying I am, but it's just that when you're going through a really rough time, just hearing that you are loved in some way really, really helps, you know? And I really love this book because I also love horses. And this page just happens to have a horse on it, and the horses throughout the book, but it's just so nice to see, like, the horse comforting the child, and I'm like, I can't explain how much I love horses. You know, like, horses were always, like, my life's purpose. So when I lost that, I just fell apart. Maybe one day I'll get it back, but yeah, it was a really, really bad time. But this book was really important to me, and that's why I decided to actually buy it, like a few years later. But lastly, I have The Poet's Companion, A Guide to Pleasures of Writing Poetry. I got this just in case if I want to write my own poetry, and I have written some poetry, and I would love to do more of it. I would love to publish. I would love to publish my own poetry book. So hopefully this book will help a lot. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I will see you guys next week. Bye!